everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Paris Lee, the compliance consultant from GACC Registration Service Organization. Today I'm going to share with you one of the most important regulations this year. So on 13th April 2021, GACC has released two new regulations, Decree 248 and Decree 249. Both of them, they are very important for the overseas producers. Decree 248 is for the registration regulations, and Decree 249 is for the administrative measures. They are going to take effect in the 1st of January 2022, and they are going to replace the existing laws of Decree 145 and 144. So today I'm going to mainly share with you Decree 148. For some of you, maybe you are familiar with Decree 248. For some of you, maybe you know Decree 145 already. You know the difference between the two of the regulations. For example, there's one main difference is that in Decree 145, it shows only 5 food products need to register through their competent authority to GACC. However, in Decree 248, it shows all food products need to register with GACC. Only depends what food you are producing. There are two different registration methods. In the third part of my webinar, I will show the details of it. So today my webinar will fall into 4 parts. The first one will be why it is so important to get registered. The second one will be the legislation basis and administrative scopes. And the third one will be the registration conditions and procedures. Last one will be the registration management. So now let's go to the first part, why it is so important to get registered. So for many of you are watching my video now, I think you know the importance already. So Paris have shown 4 different reasons for you to understand the importance better. The first one is it is compulsory. So let's check Article 4 of Decree 248 together. It shows that overseas producers of imported food shall get registration with the GACC, which means it is essential, it is necessary. You have to get the registration in China if you want to export your food to China. Also, for your importers, it is very important you have the registration number. Otherwise, they cannot import from you. So the second reason is it is a huge market opportunity. Some of you already in China market. Some of you, maybe you want to explore China market. You don't want to miss the opportunity because you don't have the registration in China. The third reason is you will be a more trustworthy enterprise. Think about this way. If you already pass GACC's assessment and review, which means your food safety management is already safe enough. So means for your business cooperators and even for customers, they think you as a more international and more trustworthy enterprise. Last but not least, with professional help from an agency, then you will reduce the risk to the lowest level. For example, if a company, they don't know that they need to get the registration number in China before they export to China, and their goods already in custom, what do you think will happen? Yeah, GACC will ask them to send the goods back or to destroy, which for everyone here listening to my video, I think it's a huge loss for you. You don't want this to happen to you. So that's the 4 reasons I have listed for you to understand the importance better. So the second one will be the legislation basis and administrative scopes. So for the legislation basis, based on what kind of laws that GACC has decided on Decree 248. So there are 4 laws which are related to decide on the Decree 248. For example, the first one will be the food safety law and its implementing regulations. And the second one will be the laws on import and export commodity inspections and implementing regulations. The third one will be the laws on entry and exit, animal and plant quarantine, and its implementing regulations. Last one will be the special provisions of State Council on Food Management. So these 4 laws are the close relationships with the Decree 248. And also for the administrative scopes, these regulations apply to who? These regulations apply to the overseas producers, which means including the manufacturers, processors, storage facilities of imported food, of all this production, they need to get registration with the GACC, okay? But if you are food additives or food-related products of the producers like processors, manufacturers, storage facilities, you don't need to apply to these regulations. The third part is very important. I believe everyone wants to know what are the conditions, what are the procedures. So maybe you will ask, can I just register now? Okay, so there are a couple of registration conditions. First, Paris want to show you a flow chart which I have made for you to understand the process a little bit more clearly. Okay, so as the overseas producer right here, then you want to get registration with the GACC, okay? So there are two different registration methods. One is if your products belong to 18 specific kind of products, you need to register to GACC through your competent authority. If you don't belong to the 18 kinds of products, then you can register through yourself or by a private agency to GACC. After the GACC receive your documents, then GACC will do the assessment or review, then we'll get the results to your competent authority or to you. So we, as a professional organization, we assist global companies to obtain registration with the GACC. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Okay, so here, next one will be the conditions, right? So if you don't know what conditions you need, here are the 4 different conditions which you need even before you start your registration process. For example, the first one is that the food safety management of your country or region has to pass GACC's equivalence assessment or review. And the second one will be you need to be established under your competent authority, and also you need to be effective oversight of your competent authority. The third one will be you need to have an effective food safety management and food defense system. And you have to make sure you legally produce the food and make sure the food comply with relevant Chinese laws and regulations. The last one is if your country, your CA or GACC has a special or separate protocols, you have to make sure the foods you exported to China has to conform with those protocols. So that's the 4 conditions you have to meet before you start your registration process. So maybe many of you are very confused now. You don't know about those conditions. Don't worry. We can help you to check the conditions, and let's have a look about the first one. The food safety management. So there are 2 different situations. For example, the first situation is that your food safety management of your country has already passed GACC's equivalence assessment or review. So then you can start your registration process already. But the second situation is your food safety management of your country didn't pass GACC's equivalence assessment or review. So then GACC has to initiate the assessment or review first of your country. Then after that, you can start your registration process. So there are 6 different situations that GACC will initiate the national food safety management of your country. If you are very interested, we will have a video series later of Decree 249 if you are interested. So please follow us and subscribe our channel. Okay, then next one will be the procedures. So many of you will ask, what materials do I need, or what procedures do I have to follow? So based on a lot of different various factors, such as sources of raw materials, production processing techniques, historical data, food safety, and so on, GACC decides the different registration methods. So for example, if your food belongs to the 18 kinds of food products, then you can register through your competent authority to GACC. If your product doesn't belong to the 18 kinds of products, then you have to register by yourself or by an agency. So now let's have a look at the list which Paris have made for you. Okay, so the first one will be if the products you are producing belong to the 18 kind of products. Okay, so you have to register through your competent authority. The 18 products includes such as meat and meat products, sausage casings, bird's nest products, eggs and eggs products, condiments, nuts and seeds, food for special dietary purposes, health foods, and so on, okay? So you need to register through your competent authority. And the materials which you need includes the following 6. The first one which you need is a recommendation letter by your competent authority. And the second one you need is your competent authority has to offer the list of the applicants and the application forms. The third one will need an identification document such as a business license by your competent authority. The fourth one will be you need a statement from your competent authority which shows you comply with the relevant Chinese laws and regulations. The fifth one is you need a report from your CA. The report is about the inspections and reviews by your competent authority has conducted on you. And last but not least will be, if necessary, then GACC will ask you floor plans of the factories, workshops, cold storages, and also like the processing flow chart. So that's the 6 materials if you are producing the 18 kinds of products. Okay, so now the other question is, maybe some of you are listening, your product doesn't belong to the 18 scopes, so don't worry about that. Then what do you need? The materials is a little bit easier, so you only need 3 materials. The first one is you need application form. The second one is you need a statement which saying that you comply with the Chinese relevant laws and regulations. And the last one will be you also need the identification document such as the business license which under your competent authority. So remember, if your product doesn't belong to the 18 kinds of food products, you need to register by yourself or by an agency. So all above, Paris show you what are the materials which you need if you want to export your food to China. So that's a registration method. So I think many of you, maybe you don't know how to fill up the application. Don't worry, Paris have shown you the list of the application forms. Okay, so now you can have a look. You just need to fill up some basic information right here. For example, you need the name of the producer, the address, the country or region, the legal representative, contact person, contact information, registration number of your CA, and so on. This is a list of what you need. But one of the important things is also you need to remember you have to write in Chinese or English. Okay, then after GACC receive your documents, then GACC will do the evaluation and review. So there are 3 different ways that GACC will do the evaluation. The first one will be the documents review, and the second one will be the video inspection, and last one will be on-site inspection. So there are 2 different consequences. The first one will be if after GACC's evaluation and review, you pass the conformity assessment, then GACC will grant a registration number which is valid for 5 years. But if you didn't pass the conformity assessment, then GACC will deny your registration. But remember, even if you get your registration number, you have to mark your Chinese registration number or your registration number by your CA on the inner and outer package. I say it again, in the inner and outer package, which is different from Decree 145, was only required for the outer package, okay? Then, next part will be my last part, registration management. So even if you get your registration number in China already, you have to make sure you are compliant all the time. Otherwise, GACC will suspend your import during the rectification period. Okay, so remember, it is very important to be compliant all the time. For some of the producers, you are saying, what about if my information changes? What materials do I need? What do I need to do? Okay, if you need to change your registration information, then you need to submit your registration again for change. Okay, so there are two materials which you need. The first one is you need a table which shows the changed information and also the original information. And the second thing which you need is you need a supporting materials which are related to the changed information. So that's the two materials which you need if you need to change your registration. Okay, but that's a small changes. If like a little bit bigger changes like the production site, legal representative, or the registration number by your CA, this changes, then you cannot apply for change. You need to reapply a registration number, okay? Remember, if the three things which I just mentioned change, you need to reapply a registration number in China. Okay, so that's the materials for change. What about if you're saying my registration number will expire soon? What materials do I need? What can I do? Okay, so now if you want to renew your registration number, you need two materials. The first one is you need a statement which says you continuously confirm with the relevant laws and regulations. And the second one is you need the application form for the renewal. That's the two materials if you need to renew your registration. Okay, then you have to remember you need to submit your renew application forms and your renew materials before 3 to 6 months before it expires. Okay, you have to submit your renew materials within 3 to 6 months before your registration number expires. So that's the materials which you need for renewal. Okay, then there are some circumstances which you will get revoked, which I don't think any of you want this to happen to you. So Paris will show you 10 different circumstances right here which will result into the revoke. Okay, for example, the last one, if you lease, lends, transfers, or resell your registration number to others, then you will be revoked probably. So don't ever try to make any mistakes, okay? So it will be a huge loss for everyone right here. So I don't want anything happen like revoke happen to you. So please cherish your registration number, okay? That's the situation for revoke. Last one which I want to mention here, also important, if any overseas CA, competent authority, or international organization issues a disease or epidemic, or GACC detects a disease or epidemic, then GACC will suspend the relevant food import from the country and will not accept the relevant food registration requirements from the country. Okay, so that's all I want to share with you today. I hope all of this help you with the understanding of the Decree 248. In the later videos, we will share with you about the Decree 249. So if you really want to know, please follow us